What if the Philippines holds a hidden place in God's prophetic plan? Though never named directly in Scripture, this archipelago of more than 7,000 islands, celebrated for its natural beauty and vibrant culture, may carry a spiritual weight far greater than most people have considered. Could the Philippines be connected to ancient Ophir, the legendary land of gold described in the Bible? And could its standing as Asia's most prominent Christian nation position it on the prophetic stage in the last days? Let's explore these questions and uncover why the Philippines may play a remarkable and unexpected role in biblical prophecy. Tracing Filipino roots to the Table of Nations. After the Great Flood, Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, fathered the peoples who would go on to populate the entire earth. As recorded in Genesis 10, scholars and historians have long attempted to trace modern nations back to these three patriarchs, and some believe the Filipino people may carry the bloodlines of two of them. Japheth, Noah's eldest son, is traditionally regarded as the forefather of many European and Asian peoples. Among his descendants was Togarmah, the son of Gomer, whose lineage is believed to have spread across broad regions of Asia. Some researchers suggest that Togarmah's descendants eventually reached the Philippine archipelago, placing Filipinos within the Japhethite line. Ham, Noah's second son, fathered civilizations across Africa and parts of the ancient Middle East, including Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. There is a compelling argument that Ham's descendants gradually migrated into Southeast Asia, where they may have intermingled with Japheth's line over time. If Filipinos indeed descend from both Japheth and Ham, they represent a rare convergence of two of history's most consequential biblical lineages. This blending could explain the Filipino people's remarkable cultural diversity and their extraordinary capacity for adaptation across centuries of change. The blessings of Japheth and Ham. These ancestral connections carry prophetic weight. In Genesis 9:27, Noah declares, "May God enlarge Japheth, and may he dwell in the tents of Shem." This blessing of expansion and influence may help explain why Japheth's descendants spread so widely, becoming foundational peoples across Europe and Asia. Ham's descendants, despite the trials recorded in Scripture, gave rise to some of the ancient world's most powerful and enduring civilizations. Their contributions shaped the biblical narrative at nearly every turn. If the Philippines shares in both of these lineages, it may also share in the combined legacy of expansion and resilience, qualities the Filipino nation has displayed time and again throughout its history. The mystery of Ophir. Few biblical mysteries have sparked more debate than the location of Ophir, a distant land of extraordinary wealth. In 1 Kings 10:22, we're told that King Solomon's fleet sailed to Ophir every 3 years, returning with gold, silver, ivory, and exotic animals. This land's riches elevated Solomon's reign to legendary status. But where was Ophir? Scholars have placed it everywhere, from East Africa to South America. Yet a growing number of modern researchers point to the Philippines as a compelling candidate. Long before Spanish colonization, the Philippine Islands were abundant in gold. Pre-Hispanic Filipinos worked gold with remarkable skill, crafting it into intricate jewelry, ceremonial objects, and even woven garments. Archaeological discoveries have revealed gold artifacts that rival anything found in the ancient world. Beyond its natural wealth, the Philippines maintained active maritime trade routes with India, Arabia, and China, the same trading sphere in which Solomon's merchant fleet operated. The description of Ophir, a distant sea-accessible land overflowing with natural riches, maps intriguingly onto the Philippine archipelago. While no definitive proof has been established, the geographic and historical parallels make this theory well worth serious consideration. The connection to Tarshish alongside Ophir. The Bible references Tarshish, another distant land associated with seafaring trade and great wealth. In Isaiah 60:9, the prophet writes of ships from Tarshish bearing silver and gold to honor God. Some scholars place Tarshish in Spain, while others argue for a location further east. What is clear is that both Ophir and Tarshish represent the outer edges of the ancient trading world, nations connected to Israel through commerce and sea routes. The Philippines, with its centuries-long history of maritime trade across the Pacific and Indian Oceans, fits naturally into this biblical picture of seafaring nations engaged in the exchange of wealth. Asia's Christian stronghold. Whatever one concludes about Ophir and Tarshish, the Philippines' Christian identity requires no speculation. It is a fact, and a striking one. The Philippines is the only predominantly Christian country in Asia, with over 80% of its population identifying as Catholic, a legacy of Spanish missionaries who brought the gospel to the islands in the 16th century. In a region dominated by Islam, Buddhism, and Hinduism, the Philippines stands as a singular beacon of Christian faith. This matters prophetically. In Matthew 24:14, Jesus declared, "This gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come." The Filipino diaspora, estimated at more than 10 million people living and working around the globe, functions as one of the most effective missionary forces on earth. Filipino Christians carry their faith into countries that are effectively closed to traditional missionary work: the Gulf states, East Asia, parts of Europe and Africa. Where formal evangelism is restricted, Filipino workers bring the gospel naturally, relationally, and persistently. This quiet but powerful fulfillment of the Great Commission in Matthew 28:19 may be one of the Philippines' most profound contributions to God's prophetic plan, standing with Israel. There is another dimension of the Philippines' story that deserves careful attention: its historic relationship with Israel. In Genesis 12:3, God makes a foundational promise: "I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse." Few nations in Asia have stood with Israel as consistently or as courageously as the Philippines. During the darkest years of World War II, President Manuel Quezon opened the doors of the Philippines to more than 1,200 Jewish refugees fleeing Nazi persecution, a decision that put the Philippines in rare company among the nations of that era. Then, in 1947, the Philippines cast the only Asian vote in favor of the United Nations resolution establishing the modern state of Israel. These were not small choices. They were acts of moral courage that aligned the Philippines with God's covenant people at pivotal moments in history. According to Scripture, that kind of alignment carries consequences, specifically the promise of divine blessing. The Philippines in the end times picture, looking ahead. While the Philippines is never explicitly named in prophetic scripture, its geopolitical position and spiritual heritage place it within the larger narrative of nations converging toward the final chapter of history. In Revelation 7-9, the Apostle John describes a vision of a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. Could the Filipino people, already spread across the globe, already sharing the gospel in some of the world's most spiritually resistant places, be part of this vast multinational multitude? Southeast Asia is also increasingly significant in global geopolitical terms. As tensions rise in the Middle East and power alignments shift across the Pacific, the Philippines, a key strategic ally of Western nations and a long-standing friend to Israel, finds itself positioned at the intersection of forces that could shape the final events of human history. Conclusion: the Philippines may never appear by name in the pages of Scripture, but its possible connection to the ancient land of Ophir, its unmatched role as Christianity's foothold in Asia, its faithful support for Israel, and its far-reaching missionary presence all suggest that this nation may occupy a place in God's prophetic timeline that has long gone unrecognized. Could the Philippines be part of the divine plan to bring the gospel to every corner of the earth before Christ's return? The evidence, historical, geographical, and spiritual, is more compelling than most people realize. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe the Philippines has a hidden role in biblical prophecy? And if you want to keep exploring the surprising connections between ancient scripture and the modern world, subscribe to Bible Truth Global. The conversation is just getting started.